The Biden administration is asking the U.S. Supreme Court to intervene and guarantee expanded access to the abortion medication mifepristone. This comes after a federal appeals court ruled overnight in favor of continuing access to mifepristone for now, so long as a woman sees a doctor in person. But the appellate court also limited its distribution, saying it could no longer be delivered through the mail, and it can only be used through the 7th week of pregnancy. The battle over abortion is also playing out intensely at the state level. Today, the Florida legislature approved banning abortions there after just 6 weeks, before some women realize they're pregnant. Parrott, president and CEO of Physicians for Reproductive Health. Thanks so much for being with us. And Dr. Parrott, setting aside the question of availability of mifepristone, what's the impact of these obstacles to access?
The direct impact is elimination of access wholesale. What we're seeing now is justice by geography. Folks who live in states and communities that have abortion providers, that have fewer restrictions, get one type of medical care, reproductive health care, and folks that live in other places like Florida, for example, that just passed their 6-week ban, get another type of care. There is not equity built into the system.
Confusing. How are you and your colleagues advising women who may find themselves in need or a moment of crisis?
The unfortunate outcome here is that it is requiring healthcare providers, physicians, nurses, midwives like me to, instead of caring for our community, the work that we have been morally called to do, we're spending an inordinate amount of time talking to lawyers and policy folks because we have an entire group of people who have no medical training, no medical background, no education in scientific research, or even understanding the literature, attempting to legislate care, legislate medicine.
Are providers in states that have abortion bans, how are they caring for patients who might have high-risk pregnancies, who might have suffered miscarriages? How are they doing that while also worrying about their own potential legal exposure?
I'm so glad that you asked that, because what this has really done is pitted patients against providers. When you go to see your doctor, what you want is someone who is going to prioritize your health and well-being. And what we're being asked to do now, because of these rulings, is to center ourselves, to think about what's best for me as a doctor in this moment, and not what's best for the patient in front of me. And that is no way to practice medicine. It's no way to provide care to folks that you are charged, that we are charged with caring for and for whom we deeply care about in our communities. And so it's tough because I think a lot of people believe that as long as it was just about abortion, then it wasn't an issue. But you rightly point out that it impacts all areas of reproductive health, including pregnancy care for those who have high-risk pregnancies, management of pregnancy loss, induction of labor. This is going to have far-reaching consequences way beyond what folks think about when they hear the word abortion.
Suspected of leaking highly classified military documents has been found.
The 21-year-old Massachusetts Air National Guard member was taken into custody earlier today. Jack Teixeira, that's him in the red shorts there, was arrested at his home in southern Massachusetts by heavily armed FBI agents. He's alleged to have posted hundreds of classified documents to an online gaming platform that details secrets about the war in Ukraine, Russian capabilities, even secrets about U.S. allies collected by American intelligence. Teixeira, who is he? What do we know about him?
Yeah, Jack Douglas Teixeira, 21 years old, served, as you just said, in the Massachusetts Air National Guard at the Otis Air National Guard Base. That's a rural part of the state. His rank was Airman First Class, that is very junior, and his job title, Cyber Transport Systems Journeyman. Now, what does that mean? He was responsible for protecting the computer network. He was essentially an IT specialist who was supposed to be safeguarding sensitive information from external attacks. And very entry level, that journeyman tag, that is one level above apprentice. Now, at the same time, he was on this small group, or led this small group on Discord. That is an online platform popular among gamers where he posted hundreds of documents. And the investigative organization Bellingcat and other journalists have discovered he posted that in order to impress his friends on this platform, many of whom were teenagers.
Details, Nick, but this guy's Airman First Class, Secretary Jr., as you point out. Why and how did he have access to this kind of information?
It's extraordinary to think that he had access because he was not an intelligence analyst who would need this access. Multiple people I spoke to today compared him to Edward Snowden, the former National Security Agency contractor who also leaked hundreds of documents of very damaging classified information, who was also a computer administrator. Teixeira, like Snowden, had access to these documents not because he needed them for his day job, but because they were on the computer network he was supposed to secure.
Access if you have the appropriate clearances.
But Ryder and other defense officials do admit that they're in the process of restricting the number of people who have access to these kinds of documents.
Nick, what else have you learned about how authorities eventually identified and caught him?
We don't know exactly. We'll know a lot more tomorrow, but there's two important factors that led to this being solved relatively quickly. One, Discord, the gaming platform that I mentioned, has said publicly it cooperated with law enforcement. And the reason that is vital is because it likely meant that investigators had the names of those people on that small group on Discord, so they could cross-reference those names with the people who have access to this kind of information. Two, the U.S. has extensive controls over the networks where the classified information live. And investigators are able to track who and when they access classified documents. And every time someone prints out a classified document, and if you recall, the original leaks were actually photographs of printouts of these documents.